Hello, viewers. Marianne from Revealing Light Tarot. Wherever you are in the world today, I hope that you're doing well. I hope that you are controlling any kind of fear that you have around what is going on globally, and that I hope that you're vibing high, as I have called it in the last couple of videos. That we're not giving in to fears, not giving into paranoia, not giving into our anxiety, because really that's not the way you self-care. That's not the way you keep your immune system strong. We know that stress impacts on the immune system. So this virus is teaching us a lot of things. I want to first go to a case study, Singapore, just to have a look at really what we've got to learn here. The New York Times carried this article looking at Singapore. Singapore, as of today, has had no deaths from this virus. They have a population of 5.7 million. Their response was shaped by how they learnt the lessons from the SARS outbreak in 2003. What they've done is they've stayed ahead of this virus at every step of the turn. That's what they learnt. They don't chase the virus, they stay a step ahead of it. So amongst their first cases diagnosed, they employed their detectives, kind of their tracers, where they really chased down what had happened, where it had happened, and who it was who it was impacting. Then they shifted into a very strict containment and quarantine regime. It was mandatory. So their figures now, they have 266 confirmed cases, 115 of those have recovered, and as I said, they have no deaths. They're testing 2,000 people a day. Okay, so that's at a very disciplined, successful response to what's going on. Then we go to the Western world. A month and a half. Where were we? We knew about this. We knew about this in January. It's now what date is it? The 18th of March. Very easy to lose track of time when you're self-isolating. The 18th of March. We knew about this in January. In Australia, the federal government has just over the last 24 hours enacted their emergency powers. They have banned gatherings, non-essential gatherings of over 100 people or more. They're talking strongly about social distancing, staying 1.5 metres away from your nearest person at all times, and self-isolation for those in the risk groups or those that think they may have the illness. And for every country in the world, anyone who comes into Australia has to quarantine for 14 days. They've told Australian citizens no travel, absolutely no travel at all. At the same time, they're rolling out an economic stimulus package. Now, if I go to the US, I see the tone of Trump now changing in the last week or so, taking this very, very seriously. But still managing to put a bit of politics in there, referring to this as the Chinese virus. If I go over to China recently expelled US media outlets. So we're going to still see that politicking coming out of Trump one way or another. There are a few, I guess, I won't say false, fake news, but there are some things circulating the internet about Kushner having shares in a company that, that is benefiting from delaying test kits. That's sort of true and not true. His brother owns a health company, and they've developed a website which tells you where testing is occurring. So it's not actually handling the actual tests. But there is a real question over why Trump delayed getting test kits that were offered to the US back in January. why he did not act sooner when he found out about this virus. So all these things are retrospective. It doesn't solve the problems right now. On the other hand, on the other edge of the scale, you have your New York governor, whom people are really looking to now for his leadership. Governor Cuomo has introduced very, very strong and stringent containment measures. It's virtually shutting down the New York for, as long as it takes to get on top of this virus. The big critical risk for large centres like New York, like London, I guess like Sydney as well, is the health systems will not be able to cope. So that's the kind of general introduction or update around what we're looking at globally at the moment. I do want to pull some cards. What are we learning as we go along? And then take a look at the world in 12 months, because I feel that what we're going through at the moment is actually going to alter the way that this world operates in the future. I bought a new deck called The Art of Life by Charlene Livingston. It's one that actually has beautiful quotes on the bottom by famous masters, writers, gurus, you name it. These quotes are beautiful. So the Wheel of Fortune, which was just on the bottom of the pack, says, it has a quote from the Bible: "To everything there is a season and a time for every purpose under heaven, a time to weep and a time to laugh, a time to mourn and a time to dance." We all know that quote. That's quite a famous quote. The Wheel of Fortune, carrying the message that things will get better, to keep the faith, to keep your vibration high, to self-nurture, self-reflect, and to start to manifest what you want. Before I start, there is a little prayer, if you are fearful at the moment, that I want to pass on to you. It was passed on to me at a time in my life when I really needed it, and it was passed on by one of my wonderful viewers, who really did help me through a particular situation, and I have so much gratitude for her. Because this prayer has been so effective for me, I want to give it to you. When you're fearful, when you're in a situation that's making you uncomfortable, you are starting to become anxious about something, or you're in a situation where you don't particularly like the vibration or the vibes that you're getting, wherever you are, this is something that you can use that really does have immediate responses. And the prayer goes like this: I am the light is within me, the light surrounds me, the light protects me, I am the light. If you say that to yourself, and you can do your visualization with it, I am the light is within me. You can visualize the light growing and spreading out within you, covering all of your body and out through your aura. The light surrounds me. You can picture yourself in a ball of light. The light protects me because when you're standing in the light, it's very difficult for negative energies, feelings, vibrations to penetrate that light, and the light protects me. I am the light, and by the time I get to the I am the light, I understand that I'm connecting with the light in every living thing, and that's a very powerful prayer. So let's pull the Art of Life tarot. We've got new starts and we've got the Star. Now, here is the Fool, which is the first card in the tarot. The quote is by Henry David Thoreau. You must live in the present, launch yourself on every wave, find your eternity in every moment. Every moment, be in the present. And then we've got the Star, one of my favourite cards, or probably the favourite card, my favourite card in the tarot, all about light. This is Vincent van Gogh's painting, Starry Night. You will know that painting. immediately. And the quote is from Dante: "If thou follow thy star, thou canst not fail of a glorious heaven." Okay, so really keeping your thoughts positive, staying in the present moment. Don't go too far ahead of yourself. All right, let's have a look at what are the lessons in this beautiful deck, The Art of Life, where the artist, the creator, has gone and picked the quotes that vibrate very well with the images. The Art of Life by Charlene Livingston. Let's have a look. What do we need to learn? Not what we need to learn. What are we learning? What are we learning from what is going on at the moment? What are we learning? Okay. The Ace of Pentacles, interesting. Wealth is the ability to fully experience life by Henry David Thoreau. Interesting card here, a fully laden table. I feel that we're learning to not to focus on the vacancy of money. When I say the vacancy, I'm saying is what I'm trying to say is that what is the real value of money? Wealth is the ability to fully experience life. So, if you've got that full table, then you've got an experience that's a picnic scene, at being outdoor and enjoying not just the food on the table, but family life. It is one of Monet's paintings, and it's called The Luncheon in the Garden, and by Claude Monet. Wealth is the ability to fully experience life. What's our challenge? The Ten of Cups, gratitude. Okay, so this is a quote from Proust. "Let us be grateful to people who make us happy. They are the charming gardeners who make our souls blossom." And that painting is from The Gardener's Daughter by Weinert, Henry Weinert. The Ten of Cups, the family card. Let us be grateful to people who make us happy. They are the charming gardeners who make our souls blossom. When you look, that's in the challenge position. We've got the money, perhaps losing sight of what money actually does for us. It's losing sight of the real value of money, the real value. And of course, when you move into that greed, avarice kind of energy, you're moving into an abusive kind of energy with money. But in its simplest form, the money is not evil. It's what value we assign to it, or alternatively, what value we don't assign to it, where we just keep gathering more and more, and we aren't really experiencing life in its fullest. And the challenge here is gratitude for the people around us. Understanding that our real happiness in life is connected to our experiences, not what we have, but to our experiences. I keep on drawing the Sun card all the time, and I have done for when I read on this. And what I'm reflecting on is that Sun card is talking about happiness. It's talking about the ability to fully experience life. Somewhere along the line, we've lost that. All right, so the foundation of the reading is the Knight of Cups. There's nothing half so sweet in life as love's young dream. That's a quote from Thomas More. And the painting is The Lovers by, I'm not even going to attempt to pronounce, Merce, Hungarian artist. All right, the Knight of Cups. There's nothing half so sweet in life as love's young dream. This virus isn't affecting young people nearly as much as it's affecting the elderly. In fact, children are getting off reasonably free of this, free of the impact of this virus. That is the foundation of the reading. What did there's been this trending hashtag OK Boomer, I think it is. Again, what did we lose sight of? Our politics are full to the brim of aging elderly people. What did we lose sight of with our younger generation? When did we stop listening to them? Let's see what's in the past. The Five of Wands, of course, which is the partisan card. It's the card of the faction fighting, the tug of war. The quote here is from Euripides. The wisest men follow their own direction. The wisest men follow their own direction. That's in the past. Did we fail to do that? Did we fail to do that? What are we learning? A lot, I would say. The potential future, the Ace of Wands. And this is a quote by Goethe. Whatever you can do, begin it. Boldness has genius, power, and magic in it. This reminds me of Zeus. Actually, what is the card? The Ascent of the Ancient of Days by William Blake. But it looks to me like a god, or it might even be is it the god Mars? It's somebody with a lot of power to begin something new. Whatever you can do, begin it. Boldness has genius, power, and magic in it. So if I connect to the vibes at the moment, if my antenna, what is my antenna telling me? I'm feeling the world becoming quieter. And I'm not feeling mass panic, I'm feeling quietness. And within that quietness, people are being asked to make decisions for themselves and to look at solutions outside the box or the square that they've been living in. Whatever you can do, begin it. Boldness has genius, power, magic in it. Okay, so maybe it's time to plant that garden. Maybe it's time to simplify things. The immediate future, the Ten of Swords, those things that hurt instruct. Now, the Ten of Swords, this painting is it's called The Crown by Redon. Odilon Redon. Forgive my pronunciation. I think it's a French painting. But the quote is from Benjamin Franklin. Those things that hurt instruct. That's in the immediate future, the Ten of Swords. Now, Rider-Waite meanings talk about downfalls, talk about being at the lowest ebb, talk about dark nights of the soul. But this card is telling us that we are learning. These cards are telling us that we are learning. Okay, let's have a look at the here and now. Four of Cups, this is the disappointment card. Can be a bitterness, but in other decks it talks about not focusing on what you've lost, but looking at what you still have. And the quote is from an African proverb. Again, kudos to the developer who has taken words and imagery from around the world. The quote is from the African proverb that says, "When the music changes, so should the dance." When the music changes, so should the dance. The painting is from A Dance in the Country by Renoir. When the music changes, so should the dance. We're learning to adapt. Those that aren't adapting, those that aren't doing things differently, those that are being stubborn and inflexible, those that are burying their heads in the sand, are failing to grasp the opportunity of the time. The environment around is the Three of Pentacles. Now that is the artisanship. It's working together in teams, and this is your card that says don't worry too much. Even though you think that certain governments and I guess groups, state governors, whatever you want to, however you want to look at it, don't have this. They do. They're doing their very best. They're coming together. This is mobilizing us to work together. And the quote is from Ralph Waldo Emerson, one of my favorite writers, poets. The reward of a thing done well is to have done it. The reward of a thing well done is to have it, to have done it. So the Three of Pentacles, the painting is Tightrope Walker by a German artist that I'm not even going to try and pronounce. But the quote from Ralph Waldo Emerson is talking about the reward of a thing well done is to have done it. People, governments, communities, state governments are putting in measures, and they're doing it now. Right now, they're doing it. Okay, so you're being asked to adapt right at the moment. Do what you're told and adapt. Okay, what's in the hopes and the fears? Of course, it is our Fool card. It is the Jester with a lute, again by an artist, Frans Hals, Hals, and this painting hangs in the Louvre in Paris. The quote again is from Henry David Thoreau: "You must live in the present, launch yourself on every wave, find your eternity in each moment." That is in the hope position. And it's also in the fear position. So if people aren't doing that now, they're actually going to be forced to do it. And it actually is the right thing to occur. The outcome, the Page of Cups, Lord Byron is the quote, and the painting is Cupid and Psyche by Edward Burne-Jones. This is hangs in a UK gallery. The quote is, "There is no instinct like that of the heart. There is no instinct like that of the heart." So again, you're going to see these wonderful things that will occur, and the kindnesses that are being done. I have a friend on Facebook that is organising a group. She's in the high risk category as well, but she's also a scientist and a very able person. She's organising a community group to help the elderly who are self-isolating get groceries to their door. There is no instinct like that of the heart. We're going to see a lot of examples of the beauty of human nature. Clarified by the Hanged Man: "When I let go of what I am, I become what I might be." Okay, that is a Lao Tzu quote. "When I let go of what I am, I become what I might be." The Hanged Man. Of course, that asks us to see things in a different way. The painting is called Two Acrobats by Kirchner, and that hangs in Davos in Switzerland. Again, taking paintings, taking words from all around the world. The Hanged Man. We are being forced to see things differently. The world is a changing place. And the other clarifier card, the Four of Swords, Retreat. End of Day by Faulkner Weatherby. The quote is from Elizabeth Barrett Browning, another English writer. "My sun sets to rise again. My sun sets to rise again." End of the day. My sun sets to rise again. So in stepping back, in becoming quiet, we're actually creating our future. What's at the base of the pack happening right now? Oh dear. The Six of Wands, which is the victory card. The quote is from Coleridge, Samuel Coleridge. "Nothing great was ever achieved without enthusiasm." Okay, so there are opportunities here. The Seven of Cups. This is the choice card. Another quote by Elizabeth Barrett Browning. Whoso loves believes the impossible. We're being stretched here, but we are going to see, this is like wartime, we are going to see the best coming through, and the Six of Cups, reunification with ourselves. The quote is from Sir Barry, and it's the red kerchief. Again, another Monet. Claude Monet painting. This one hangs in the US. Some of you might have even seen it in the galleries in the Cleveland Museum of Arts in Ohio, USA. God gave us memories so that we might have roses in December. God gave us memories so that we might have roses in December. So it's very difficult to look at timing. But when I pulled that card, I've always thought that we would have a vaccine. They started testing on March the 6th. I thought we would have a vaccine within the year. But this is also telling us that by the year's end, we will have been through the worst. We will have overcome. So that is the reading. I'm actually going to close this down and open up, because these cards were so insightful. I'm actually going to close this down and then open up another reading where we'll look at the countries and how they're doing. We'll look at the US. We'll look at the UK. I think Boris Johnson is learning some huge lessons here. And I think the UK is learning some huge lessons as well as Australians, as is the United States. We're all learning these lessons here and right now. We'll look at Canada. Canada is going ahead with its vaccine, as is a lot of other countries. We'll look at the EU completely shutting down their borders. But that's for the next reading. I'm going to close this down and I'm going to open something up again. I hope you enjoyed that reading with the Art of Life cards. I'll try and be helpful during this time. I'm not going to try and add to whatever we're still carrying or whatever we're carrying at the moment. I'm not going to add fear or anxiety to that. So I think, at least for the next little while, we'll look at what is occurring globally. If I see something that I think is really, really important politically, I'll jump right on it and we'll get on it. But for today, I have to be led by my intuition, and I think the time now is to, while we're in this semi-self-isolation type of state, the time is now to reflect on the learnings. Now, I did say we'll show me the world in 12 months. I'll save that for the next reading. All right, I'll leave that there. Thank you for tuning in.